Good morning! I can't keep this to myself. This is so incredible. I've just got to the farm and it's blooms, birds, and beautiful walkabout day today. Stay tuned. We've had 2 full days of rain. In fact, it snowed last night. It even snowed. There's still snow in the shady spots. It snowed enough during the night. May 1st. Some snow left. And everything has just popped. It's been a very dry spring this year. And so now that we've got some rain, it's like everything can't wait to explode. So we've got the plum cots. Actually, they're arriving. They're almost over the plum cots. Oh, hascap this year. Wow, we got a huge amount of hascap blooming, and all our older hascap berry bushes are just going crazy with blooms this year. The pears aren't far away. Look at that. It's still going to be, for some of them, it'll be another week. And plums, some are further ahead than others, but that's those. You say, well, how do you see? This is the flowers right there. Those are the flowers. That's the flowers right there. And these are leaf buds. Pointy ones are leaf and the round ones are flower buds. So they're gonna be popping soon. A lot of our cherries are really just getting, actually some of them opened a couple days ago. And because it's been, I went back to some colder weather. So I'm also realizing what I have to do still. I gotta fill in these holes. If you saw the last video of, one of the last videos, the seedling video, gotta fill in these holes and I gotta finish. I got 3.5 rows transplanted in this seeded orchard at the back. I found more trees. I'm gonna have enough to finish the whole orchard with seedlings, so that'll be exciting. I'll show you just the state of some of the other trees. So the apples are not quite pink bud. That's advanced, but not pink yet, although it's pink tip. Look at this, red bud. Check out this. This is one of the, I consider, nitrogen fixers, Cercis canadensis. I'm excited. It's just the, hey, winter is long here. I mean, we have a long winter, and to see the grass really popping, the leaves popping, the shrubs popping. We've been eating vegetables already because look at this. You know, we have the onions are all out. There's chives. The chives are all out. Look at that. And there's a lot of them now. We actually, this is almost over. We had, hey, you know what these are? Yeah, dandelions. This is the stage. And the daylilies are, they've gotten a little big. We ate them when they're good to eat when they're about that high. Daylilies, go see that daylily video. If you've never tried daylilies, I mean, they're a gourmet vegetable. Dandelion, before they've popped their flowers, go see that uses of dandelion. Amazing. And it's always nice to remember, oh yeah, you know, these plants, look at these chives. These are doing well. Look at that. I mean, that's 35 centimeters, a foot and a couple inches. Hascap berries. Look at this. And now even some of these are really the youngest gooseberries we put in. And they're coming up really nicely. Ah, it's exciting, it's exciting. Spring is always exciting. Winter was long. Actually, it wasn't a bad winter. This was, I see my one peach tree even has blooms. So it wasn't a cold winter. We don't consider, we didn't go, I think the lowest we hit was -22, which here, yeah, that's not cold. -22 centigrade. Oh, look at this. This one is pink bud. This apple tree. That's looking good. Got some pruning done in here. Oh, it's just, it's inspiring. I just find taking a walkabout, and when you have your orchard, even if you have just 2 trios, when you start to walk around and see the changes, and at this time of year in our climate, spring, it's called spring because it's like, boy, oy, 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 it just pops and explodes. And we had a warm start to the spring. We hit 20 degrees, like that's 70 Fahrenheit. I mean, it was hot for early on. So things got going early. I was concerned because, man, you get too quick of a start and then you're really at risk of getting frosted. We had that in 2012 where everything killed, all the flowers, not the trees, but the flowers all got killed because it was -8. I don't know, I'll write that down what it is in Fahrenheit, but that was cold. It frosted everything. Some of these trees, here's an overgraft onto a really not in good shape pear rootstock, but look at that. This Asian pear, yeah, it's doing beautifully. And those who don't know, when you see at the top, you've got blooms right at the top, you know that tree has completely, it's blocked up. Like not that it's a bad thing. It's finished its juvenile stage. It's completely mature, and that's it. That's how high it's gonna grow. It might grow a little more, but more than likely those branches that are upright like this, when they have fruit, they'll actually bend over. So your tree will get a little shorter, which is nice. But that's what I like to see in the spring. I like to know, is this tree still gonna grow higher or not? And so that can be we can train the trees at the top, but usually the fruit load should bring those down. Some of these trees have had a tough life. Look at this. I mean, yeah, that one broke last year, but it's still there. And we got, look at how the rootstock has come up out of there. So Bernie Nikolai sent me some, shout out to you, Bernie. You sent me some really rare Russian selections of hardy pear trees. Thanks a lot. That's gonna be, these are the kind of trees I can graft onto. Look at this pear. So what is this? Oh, this is the inedible pear. This is the Perry pear, or making pear cider. It's an early one, but look at this. See the black there? That's not fire blight, because this one doesn't suffer, but that's just a frost. We had some cold nights, and the first leaves that came out just get dinged, and they brown out and they dry off, and hey, that's all there is to it. Look, to show you the difference, here's another pear. Look at that. I mean, that's hardly anything. Look how not advanced that one is. But you see where the bloom clusters? So the blooms are just coming out. So here's one that last year was loaded with fruit. And see, this year, there's nothing on there. What is it, oh, there's some flowers at the top. Yeah, that's the advantage of diversity, is you get some trees in some years really get going and produce a lot, and then they take a break the next year. Look at this. That's another pear that, yeah, doesn't have any flowers. So that too produced a lot last year. Overall, this year is looking like it's going to be a huge production year. Every 2 years we have a big year. The birds have come back. I see the robins are cruising for a place to nest here. There's robins in the biotope over there. Chipping sparrows. Oh, these have finished flowering. This is some Nanking cherry. They were quite spectacular. Look at that. You even see the little, corollas, the start of a young, of a small cherry in there. So they're starting. You've got to enjoy the moments when things are looking fantastic, because it's not always that way. There will be times, there will be days where you go, man, it's tough. I had a day this week. It was tough. I'm feeling deflated. I've spent the last 2 days fixing. 1 day fixing the tractor and 1 day fixing the sprayer. I get everything ready to go spray because it's raining, perfect conditions, the leaves would be wet. And on the tractor, the tire I thought is good, all of a sudden is flat. On the sprayer, the tire that was good, all of a sudden is flat. And the sprayer was working, and all of a sudden it's not working. So that's how you can feel deflated. All ready to go, and strike 1, 2, 3. Farming. You gotta laugh sometimes from how it's crazy. Look at this rhubarb popping in there. Yep, that's nice rhubarb. In fact, we haven't been selling rhubarb lately because they were so overpicked for a few years that the plants just really didn't. They were depleted, let's say. So I've left them a couple years, no picking, and now they're coming back. Some more pear coming. I guess I'll have to do another walkabout in full bloom, because this is just getting started. Oh, here's a nice one. Here's a pear. Look at that. It's coming into full bloom, but this is all an overgraft. So just for those, go see some of the grafting videos and overgraft videos. Here was where this was a branch. We grafted on another kind, because the base of this tree up to here and up to here, this is Flemish Beauty, which we don't want anymore. I call it Flemish Ugly. But here's the graft point, and doing really well, and see that? So usually on an overgraft within 3, certainly 4 years, but you already have, I mean, that's going to be an interesting production after 3 years, because you have a root that's so well established, and it's really pushing that scion that you graft over. You think, well, what's a graft? What's a scion? Go see the grafting videos. I mean, there's a lot of education in there. There's a lot of things to learn about this. It doesn't happen overnight. And I was doing I did a summit this last weekend with Verge Permaculture, and Jeff Lawton was there, Mark Shepard, and a whole bunch of well-known people in permaculture. And yeah, I was explaining, because it's kind of how you developed your property. So I'll put a link. Go see that video. It's quite educational, how I got started and developed the permaculture orchard. But I'm reminded, I didn't know anything about fruit trees. I mean, I was greener than the green on these trees. I knew nothing. But I learned, and you can learn too. And in fact, follow this channel and you will learn way faster than I did. And in fact, about this channel, thank you, because this week we clicked over a milestone, 100,000 subscribers. It's been quite a journey, and it's thanks to you, because without you, well, all I'd be doing is putting out videos and that's it. But it's because of people like you who have appreciated, learned, and shared, and liked, and commented that this channel has grown. And I would just say that this is just about a start. I looked through my video idea list and it is massive. There's so much that I still want to impart and still want to share with you. So stay tuned. There's a whole lot more to come. And I've partnered with my daughter's boyfriend, Stefan. He's a photographer, he's a videographer, and the quality of the videos should just continue to go up. This is me doing this one myself, but he's been instrumental in just boosting the quality of the videos. Look at this. Even here, we have a couple of cherry bushes. See that? These are probably, 1, 2, and the bigger one, 3. So these are Carmine Jewel. And they suckered from, here's the original mother plant. They suckered from this one, which was planted in the row. And this one gets irrigation, this one has the extra, and it gets the plastic mulch. These don't. And look at them. I always say, plant an orchard of weeds. Because, man, there's nothing easier than plants that you do nothing to. I mean, nothing. You just mow around them. That's all I've done. And look, they not only do well, they thrive. This thing is getting ready to bloom and it's going to attract bees. Yeah, so get an orchard of weeds. You think, I don't want weeds. You want trees, shrubs, perennials that grow like weeds, that grow so easily. I can't pass up this one. This is an American plum. Prunus americana. And look, do you see that? They've had a tough few days. It's been rainy and cold and snow, but look, the petals open up. You see, these are going to open full bloom today. They're not right now, but they will be. So flowers protect themselves. They cover up. They put the blankets back on for the night. And this one will produce, this is quite very productive. Maybe its only downfall is it suckers a lot. So here are some of the suckers. So it suckers. I've gotten rid of some plums that I found sucker too much, but this one grows like a weed. And I want weeds. I want plants that I have to do nothing and they produce abundantly. That's what I want. And look, right below it, here is a red currant in bloom. So you see, early in the season, this is May 1st. So this year, we're about 10 to 14 days ahead of where we are normally. And so, yeah, this is earlier this year. It's really, normally we're seeing this, we're seeing this later. Certainly the apple trees will bloom earlier. And so spring has come earlier. What do I want to show you? There's so much I've been seeing. Oh, look at this. This is Richter's Profusion Sorrel. I can't pass this up. Every time I walk by, I just take, these are so delicious. Look them up. This one is amazing selection. It's a cultivar, if you like, because it doesn't even go to seed. So all its energy goes into producing leaves. And the colder it is, the better they are. If they've had snow, if they've been frosted in late fall, because they are green now, they're green all summer, and then late in the fall when we get really some good frosts, they just get sweeter and just... I want you to really start experiencing these things because it is exciting. And I was reading comments this morning people saying how, yeah, you know, my trios, and I'm excited when I see that other people have started and gotten with the program and started putting in their own orchard, because I know what they will go through. I know what they'll experience. It'll be ups and downs. Don't think it'll all be rosy. But times like this, when you just can walk around and just eat, it makes up for all those tough days. I mean, I had a tough day this week, but that's fine. Now I can laugh about it. Oh, my apprentice, Jean-François, gave me these Belle de Bosse Coupe. My only treat, here's the overgraft. There's where the graft was made with two, it was probably three, yeah, it was three shoots that were overgrafted here. Two took really well. So now that they're taken well, I'm gonna come and clean up and remove some of the others. This is an M106 rootstock. So nice, so green. And look, dandelions. So many of you have come here to this channel because you were interested in dandelion. There's so much more than dandelion. I mean, there's a whole orchard, and if you have a yard, gosh, get a few fruit trees. Look at my information about trios and get some fruit trees put in, because the rewards long term are so wonderful. So much to show you. I guess I'll show you these. Saskatoon berries. And these are the whole collection of Amelanchier alnifolia service. Well, it's not exactly serviceberry. It's really Saskatoon berry. It's a different species from serviceberry. But there's a whole row here of different cultivars of Saskatoon berries. We began another project, always projects. I like projects. I'm a starter. Maybe you kind of got the drift of that. I love to get things going. I'm not that big of a finisher, so I hope other people take the torch and run. Those are getting there. So we got started here, and probably Stefan will complete this, but a new project, which is it's a tower, a nesting tower for chimney swifts. Let's see if you see that. So see, here's the posts, and it's tall. That thing is, I don't know, we calculated, it's about 18 feet high, 6 meters, and we're gonna cover it all, and we're gonna leave, at the top, we're gonna leave an opening for the chimney swifts to go down inside and nest. Because we've seen them around, just never seen them. Well, we've seen them around. So if they're around somewhere, they're probably nesting in somebody's chimney, but this will be the mother of all chimneys in the neighborhood. This will be the biggest. It should attract them. They should get interested in it. And so, look, we have just a couple oak trees. Diversity, you put some diversity in there. You say, oak tree, you put an oak tree in your orchard? Yes. Why not? It will produce nuts, but because it's not exactly the same as all the other trees, just the structure of the oak tree, just the framework attracts different birds. Gee, these trees, look how, that's loaded. I mean, this tree is just gonna be a bloom fest in a few days. As well, right next to it, this is a chokecherry. We got several selections of chokecherry. Yeah, diversity. I'm all about diversity. I want there to be so many different trees and shrubs. I even want diversity in the nest boxes. And look, oh, and here comes the bow diversity. Say hi, Bo. Yeah, you've been digging, I bet. Bo likes to dig for voles. And different grapes. This year they're looking really good. And look at this. I just talked about I just talked about oak tree. Here's a second oak tree and a second nest. So you see, not all trees are created equal for birds. And yes, I want to have birds. I consider them my allies because they're working. Well, there's a day shift and a night shift, but they're doing the whole day shift. And I saw some tent caterpillars. If you want to know the story, I mean, it's thanks to tent caterpillars. It's thanks to tent caterpillars that I replanted this orchard this way. I don't look at them as tent caterpillars. I used to, absolutely I used to. They were the greatest pest that I had when this was, go see some of the videos on the story. Go see that summit video on Verge. I think it's there on Verge Permaculture on their YouTube channel. And just telling my story, but it used to be a 4,000 tree apple orchard, monoculture, just apples. Transitioned to organic. Did that for a bunch of years. Realized that it just doesn't work. Monoculture it's not a sustainable, continuing, functioning ecosystem. This, however, I mean, this solves problems right from the get-go. And permaculture is all about designing solutions into your garden, into your yard, into your orchard, into your farm. The solutions should be designed right from the start. Design your system to solve problems so you don't have to afterwards come back and intervene. Oh, well, I got this. Oh, I got that. Oh, I got a weed. Well, is it really a weed? I mean, go see the dandelion story because, man, we had dandelions. I mean, this thing, if you'd look at this time of year in about 5 days when dandelion are kind of at their peak, they're just started. This used to be, never mind green, there was no green left. If I did this and I got down low, it was a sea of yellow, just yellow. All these aisles were yellow. Why isn't it like that now? Yeah, why? Why isn't it? Go see the dandelion story and you'll understand why. I'm excited. Do you get that? I mean, it's not always that way. Don't say, there's days that are tough, and I've had my share of tough days, but walkabouts, that's why I try to share some of these. Go see the whole series if you want more. Walkabout is important. It's not something, no, it is important. And that's why I just got here and I want to do it with you. I don't want to see it and then come show you. I want you to experience what I'm seeing firsthand. Look at that. Aronia berries. I mean, there's going to be a whole lot of aronia fruit. And these are mixed in. They're mixed right in here. Trees that died back. So you see, that apple tree died and all the rootstock suckering. And there's a reason why it's suckering, because you have a big old root and now the original tree died. So that root didn't die. The tree died, but the root is alive. So that root is just pushing and pushing. Wow, I see some cherries are really popping. Glorious time to walk. So take time to go walk. Literally I could say take time to smell the, it's not that much right now today to smell, certainly not because it just snowed. Oh, look at this. Little eggshell. So that could have been, that's probably a robin's egg. So that could have been brown cowbirds that parasitized, or it could have been, no, I don't, it was a predator because the robins are not hatching their young quite yet. Oh, too bad you don't see it. On top of this, we fixed and reinstalled this purple martin box. Right on top, there's a bluebird sitting up there. Lots of bluebirds this year. Oh wow, I didn't notice these. Huh. Even some of these young cherries that we planted. So we replanted this area here with cherries and plums. Why? Because, well, if I don't do anything, cherries and plums grow well here. Apples do not. So I'm not planting much in the way of apples because we have lots, first of all, and second, they need a lot more care. In this soil, until an apple tree gets really well established, it needs some extra irrigation, and we don't always. I would like to phase out irrigation if I don't give any. Some of the trees certainly will suffer. Oh, I see. It also reminds me of some of the videos and that whole series this spring on vole damage. Here was the one tree that was completely girdled. So that one, it will send out. So these suckers are just some that got girdled also. They'll come back from the base and that will really come out. So the tree is coming out. It's even gonna bloom, but that won't amount to anything because basically there's an upward flow of energy. So the root is kind of emptying itself and there's not going to be a return of sap to the roots. So the tree will just dry up during the season. But what it does often is it tries to do a last gasp, a last hurrah to try to put out some fruit for the last time because it's been completely eaten. And sometimes it works. Usually it doesn't. The tree dries up before the fruit can amount to anything. So this is the leftover of the monoculture orchard. So I keep a few apple trees here. These are older trees. They still produce. It's not totally a monoculture anymore because we've replanted and interplanted, and you know, there's some grape in here and there's cherry, and this is plum. So they're coming along slowly because look, there's no mulch here, nothing at all. So these trees have to really duke it out with the grass, but yeah, they're coming. So they're alive, which is the first step. Not thriving, surviving. We modified the Osprey platform this year, made it a little lower, wondering why it wasn't working. I'll have to put out that video on how we built it originally with Jasmine. And this year we came and cut it down just so that the Osprey won't feel as kind of boxed in, because I think that's maybe why they haven't used it. That'll be exciting. They've checked it out. I know they've flown over it, so we'll see. Last week there was a pair really started to get, they were calling and it was like a courtship call. I thought that might be a young pair because usually the adults are the ones that have had a successful nest. They'll just re-nest in their existing, the same place they nested the year before. So new nest sites are really taken up by young birds that don't have a pre-existing site they used. Ah, yes, I wanted to show you the young seedlings replanted in the seeded orchard. So here was the mulch we put down last year with Frank Tooten, and yeah, that's done well. Overall, wherever there was mulch, the voles didn't bother the trees nearly as much. And you see, it's still got an effect. There's still no grass around the tree. So that's nice. Let's go see those seedlings. Yeah, here it is. There's one little pear tree. Some of you asked, how do you know? Well, it's like your kids, you know, you get to recognize your kids. There's another pear. But if you look on a seedling, the leaf pattern, shape, and coloration is similar but in miniature on a seedling than it is on an adult tree. So you say, oh, I can't recognize, I'm not sure. Go look at an existing adult tree and compare it to the seedlings. So here's an apple to compare that. There are a couple of apple trees. So you see how that leaf is different. It's more rounded. Let me see, I'll move that. So it's a more rounded leaf. It's got, it's pretty well even in coloration throughout. Yeah. I wish there was a guide to seedling trees and shrubs. Maybe there is, I just never looked at it, but that would be a great resource. That video we did recently on seedlings. If you could see and you go, oh look, that's a young oak tree, that's a young pear tree. There you go. With a dandelion. Little pear trees went through some cold times. There was snow. We had quite a snowfall 2 weeks ago. Actually, I planted these just before the snow so that they would benefit actually from the slow wetting. Snow is not a bad thing. In fact, if it did have a layer of snow accumulated on these seedlings, look, these plants can take it, but that snow actually acted as a little insulating blanket. It doesn't get much colder than freezing when there's snow on it, even though the temperature dropped a bit below freezing, but the tree leaves didn't even feel it. Usually the plants that showed that there was a frost here, like alfalfa and so on, didn't show any sign of frosting. We did some work in here as well. Again, the energy of a young person. So Stefan came in and we wanted to make this more attractive to birds. This, if you look at the seeded orchard videos, this was wide open with nothing. There was nothing here. So first thing, put in some posts with nest boxes. Then he buried big branches. So by putting these big branches, this has been really key to getting birds, because a lot of birds want to just perch. They want a place to sit, and from there they'll hunt. So all of a sudden the bluebirds took up this area. They weren't really using this area, but now it looks like we might even have a pair of bluebirds nest in this area. And then, because we were still pruning, we added brush piles here. And yes, I've talked about brush piles and where to put them, and you don't want them near your young trees normally, but because in this area we seeded the orchard, well, it's a transplant seedlings, but it's trees spaced so far apart. I thought a chickadee was coming. Oh, I'm sorry, chickadee, I don't have anything for you. You gonna come anyway? Nah, it sees there's nothing. You're gonna trick me. Still came. So, see, that's, I don't like to fool them like that. It's like, hey, you said there would be something. There's nothing. Go see that bird whisperer to show you how to do that, how to get how to get birds to come eat out of your hand. Even if I have nothing, it'll still come eat at them. Look, at least. So we put in these posts, we put in the logs, different branches, and then we put in these brush piles. So there's a bit of a strategy to it. So we know, and I observe the birds a lot. I know that they're safe in the pines, but they haven't been coming in here because it's been too open. So what we did was we made a series like to leapfrog. So that one there, that brush pile is the closest to the pines. Then they can jump from there to there. That's a next row over. And then there's another pile over there. That's in the third row. And then we have this one, the fourth row, big brush pile, and feeders. So the birds are coming for the feeders, but they use the brush piles to move I am definitely bird-brained. I know it. I mean, I think like a bird. I have about the intelligence of a bird, but I think like a bird because I've watched them enough that I know how they will react, how they will respond. And what they needed here was some safe cover, and we've had Merlin's hunting here, we had Cooper's hawk, sharp-shinned hawk, and the birds, they'll just hide in the bottom of these brush piles. They'll just go down inside. It's like, yeah, you can try, but there's no way you're gonna get me in here. As long as the bird, and what the predators do sometimes, they'll sit right up here on top. And it's like they're waiting. Are you gonna lose your nerve? And these are adult birds at this time of year. The predators will come back, and in the summer when there's fledglings that lose their nerve and they go, ha, 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 I'm so scared, and they take off, well, the predator takes off and has an easier meal. And that's okay, because you don't want those to be your breeders. You know, the ones that don't get with the program, well, they're not gonna survive. And so we put some of these feeders, and look, something's been using them to nest in, and I'm a little cringy because there could be something in there, and I don't like to disturb it. So a lot of work has been done here as well, and that's great. And that gets this area going. So hopefully in the next couple of days I have 2.5 rows to transplant more pears. And next week I have plum trees coming. So I ordered some plum seedlings because this area is allocated for mostly pear and plum. And Bo is the mulch mover. You find it? Did you get it? When her tail's wagging, I know she smells a vole very close. So she's very close to it. She can move a serious amount of mulch looking for where that vole ran in underneath the mulch. And that's good. Even though she's a domesticated animal, her tilling the mulch is a good thing. Move it around. It allows grass to come in some places, but it also smothers it in other areas. Oh yeah, just gonna check. We seeded a whole bunch of potatoes. I thought, do I till a whole area? What? This is like the no weed, no work way of doing potatoes. So we basically put in potatoes in this hay mulch. So we put them and then covered them with a layer of compost and rock dust. Go see that, how to make soil young again. That's an amazing combination. If you want to get soil to crank at a whole new level using a mix of compost and rock dust. So you can see the rock dust in there. See the little, that's rock dust that clumps because it's wet, and then the compost. You want to try something unique and a unique way of getting your soil to work. That combination, go see that, making soil young again, because that's literally what it does, is it will rejuvenate your soil. And hey, you have to try it for yourself. I can tell you things, some of you listen, and a few of you actually do it. And that's normal, that's the ratio, you know. If you did everything you hear, you'd never stop doing all kinds of things, which really has to go through your filter, your background. What did you learn? And it also comes down to, do you trust someone? And I don't say you have to trust me on it. I'm trying it. Some of the things, like, hey, go see the seeded orchard. You know, we did it, we tried it, and the way we first did it didn't work at all. Go see the update video to that. It didn't work. Not that it can't work. It didn't work because we put the seeds in the fall, and it was a high enough vole year that the voles actually used this area and ate all the seeds. you learn. It was an easy way to do it. I mean, it was ridiculously easy. We planted this whole thing in half a day. In putting the seeds in, there was other steps, but to put in an orchard like that in half a day would have been pretty amazingly easy and rewarding. So experiment. Don't be so afraid of trying things, but if you trust what I'm suggesting, and I've gone through more mistakes than the vast majority of people, take some of the things I said and try them. And then you start to look in the bottom of the videos and the comments and people saying, hey, yeah, I tried that, I did that. And you know, wow, this year we're getting our first fruit. Well, that's exciting because, as I said, I know what you will go through. I know the steps you'll get to enjoy. Like this, you know, we put these in with Jasmine to add diversity, and Alex as well. We put some, for first round with Alex, and then with Jasmine we put in more. So this is to add wintertime biodiversity into this piece of the orchard. Should show you these, right? So this is, hey, a big shout out to everyone who contributed at the University of Saskatchewan. Hey, chickadee. I know, you think I have something for you. You're looking. Hey, sorry, I don't mean to trick you. You see there's nothing. I didn't put any seeds in my pocket today. Have a good day. So, yeah, the team at University of Saskatchewan, Dr. Bob Boers and his predecessors who developed these cherries. These are a bush cherry, a complex hybrid, many species mixed together. But they are hardy to the prairies, so they're more than hardy here. And they stay as a bush, they don't become a tree, they're a shrub height cherry. And these are good. I mean, they're not a sweet cherry, but they actually have more sugar than a sweet cherry because they have a bit of acidity, but for processing, wow, if you like to make cherry pies or juice, these are fantastic. Oh, that's nice too. Look at that. I'm trying to think who, you know, I've had some interns over the years and trying to think who was it who did that, but there was some grafts. That was probably Sebastian and Alice that did that. So we had, or Sebastian Melody. Yes, I'm sorry. I have nothing for you this morning. I'm sorry. Yes, you like and you'd like to come see something. I have nothing for you. So these rootstock of apple that we overgrafted, and this would have been, what was these? Oh, you see? A label with no name. So maybe they didn't know which one it was or just forgot, and that happens. Just forgot what it is. Some of the sage, see, it wasn't that cold a winter. Some of you say, sage, I mean, that thing grows like a weed. Well, not in our climate. Usually, anything above the snow, so the snow this year, let's say reliably was about a foot at all times in the coldest period. Anything above that just gets completely frozen and dies. So we have to have a good snow cover for it to survive. And these, I'm impressed. Shout out to Lawrence at Whiffle Tree Nursery. He sold me these trees, but they're shrubs. These are autumn olives. You think, autumn olives? Yes, I planted autumn olives. They're not invasive here because, well, they're really on the edge, but they've done really well. I'm really impressed. It was good plants, but they've also done very well. Some of our American chestnut, you think, well, they might get chestnut blight. Yes, they might get chestnut blight. But they have been giving us some pods, burrs. The only problem is chestnuts here, we don't have enough of them. They're wind pollinated, mostly. I think they are. And so they they haven't cross-pollinated. They have a bit of distance, so they may not have cross-pollinated well enough. You know, this bothered me, but you know, spring came early. Our usual spring shrub season is the first 2 weeks of April, and like it was over. To prune at that time, it was too late. So I haven't done what I'm telling you to do. I showed you a video how to prune black raspberry, and I didn't do it. I didn't prune them at all this year. So we got all these long canes that didn't get thinned down, and oh well, it happens. But a few years ago, when I did prune it for the video, I made these piles, and they're interesting because raspberry, the canes, oh, see that? First one I pick. I hope you see that. The canes, because they get hollowed out by insects, so these little refugia become an area for beneficial insects. And it won't be long, the beneficial insects, not just the bees, because I see some flies in here. There will be insects coming for this nectar of this cherry. And that's one of the great advantages to the permaculture orchard in planting in a diversity is, boy, we get flowers here for pretty well 60 days. I mean, yeah, a solid 60 days, even a little longer if we count the willows, and then we go into the last nitrogen fixer. And in between there is flowers almost every week, something going on. Like this is Nanking. When you see the petals below, that means some of the last blooms are on. Haven't produced well in the last few years. I think Nanking cherry, needs a little more clay. I know we have one down there where the soil is just a bit of clay, and it's definitely doing better without anything, no irrigation, nothing. So even in cherries, there's going to be a range of how much they like different soils. Another one here in bloom. This one also didn't get pruned. I didn't prune this block at all. I didn't come in here and touch anything. But this tree is going to be, this one's going to be loaded. Like, look at that. And that's what I talk about in the pruning course, the branch angle, and I'll just show you that difference. See, this branch is all horizontal pretty well. You don't want it really below horizontal with pears. And then a branch like this, very much vertical. A branch like this, very much vertical. No fruit on there, no flowers. Yeah, so if you train your tree instead of pruning, so if I took this branch and I train it and I bend it down to a horizontal angle like this, all these buds pretty well will become what this one is. So you do get a few flowers, but on average, nothing like the same year, the same tree, what happens when you train. So that is the big difference. And if you have a lot of branches like this, you'll think, oh, I gotta prune them. There's a lot to learn, but I show you because I've learned it myself. And I've learned from really the best in the world as far as pruning, the importance of training instead of pruning. And this whole orchard block is not pruned. You say, I see a few cuts. Yes, because if it's all the way, if we're gonna have a branch coming way out in the aisle and we can't go by, we will prune that. But overall in here, just look at this tree. So this would have had some cuts here. 1, 2, 3, because these would have come out into the aisle. But other than that, do you see pruning cuts on there? There's nothing. There's no pruning. So this tree is totally unpruned. strictly speaking, I didn't train that one even. I left it to its natural form. And so there's one thing that's breaking the rule. Much bigger. This is bigger branch than the main trunk, so this is becoming a second trunk, and so on. But a tree will take on a natural form, and this thing, I think this is Trent, cultivar of apple. This one will be absolutely loaded down with apples this year. So I'm experimenting. I'm not just telling you things that I've read in a book. And listen, a lot of people read a lot, and that's good, but they don't practice it. They don't try it. They don't experiment. And if you did, I tried it for one season. Look, with trees, one season means nothing. Because this tree, any flowers forming on this tree has nothing to do with this year. All this is energy stored last year. So if you say I tried something with trees and it 1 year does nothing, you are reaping the work you did last year in flowers and fruit this year. You did a lousy job last year, then you may not get much this year. So that's how it works. So you gotta learn about it, experiment it, try it. And if you say, I only have a few trees, then don't experiment so much. Listen to what I'm saying and apply it. Because I've already done the experimenting. I've tried it. I mean, I've got almost 30 years under my belt in this orchard. And I knew nothing when I started, so I understand what it's like. But now I'm starting to get the hang of what is working, what works. And what works here does not mean it works for you. And I see a lot of people, what's your spacing? What tree do you use? I really don't like to say that, because just because it works here, it doesn't mean it will work for you. Context is so important. You know, I guess one of the most common questions, I watched a lot of the presentations in the summit, and when people were answering questions, they would say, well, it depends. And that's true, because permaculture is context-based. You have principles, you have not techniques. Techniques are, you can't say I have a permaculture technique, but there are principles at work. And those principles depend on the climate, depend on the soil. And so, yeah, what works here does not mean it will work for you. Or you say, yeah, like, you know, this is a amber autumn olive, a cultivar. You say that thing grows like a weed here, then grow it. Because it's not growing like a weed here. It doesn't reproduce here. It doesn't seed itself here, or at least for a few years, and I haven't seen any seeds come up, any seedlings. So you do want to grow something that grows like a weed, you know, because then how easy is that? You get flowers and you get an abundance of fruit. Isn't that the goal? The goal is to enjoy the fruit of your labor. It's to do a work and then reap for years. And that's the beauty of it. I gotta say, I did a lot of these, like the last orchard here was planted in 2009. So that's this part here, was planted in 2009. So we're 2021. So that's 12 years. So I haven't had to do hardly any more planting for 12 years, but I'm reaping the benefits of the work that was done then. That's what you want. I say, you know, gosh, if you're under 75, it's a perfect time to be planting your orchard. You say, well, I'm 80. Then it's a good time for you too. Because do it, and then you will reap the rewards for years to come. Ooh, our little pond here. I've had some nice additions going on here. Got some frogs moved in. Put in a snapping turtle one day, but it didn't like it and it moved off. Boy, I hope you shared a little bit in the excitement of all the things going on. Did some cuttings. So here's grape mixed with willow water. Go see that video. And I got some really nice mulberry cuttings. So they're soaking in there to encourage the rooting. It's an exciting time of year. Go walk about your property. Go enjoy it. And thanks for subscribing for that 100,000. That's a big boost, a big encouragement as well to know that people appreciate the content. And put down in the comments if you've gone around and taken Walkabout on your property, because it is important. You will learn, you observe, you see the changes, and you learn to appreciate what you have already done. I can see the things to do, I know, but to see what we've done and appreciate the work and get the satisfaction for the work done is also really nice. Gotta get to work. Intrigued? Check out the virtual tour of the Permaculture Orchard. Have trees already? Pruningcourse.com. Subscribe, please. Check out some of the other videos or playlists. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Bye. Thanks for watching. See you next time. God bless. Bye.